Hello, hello. My name is Lauren, and I'm the content marketing coordinator. I forget my title all the time. I'm here at Belcher Aquarium.
Hello, I'm John Rossi. I'm a touring drummer with a passion for animal conservation. When I'm on the road, I spend as much time as possible visiting zoos, aquariums, and conservation organizations. Now, I want to share those places with you. I'll be talking to keepers, vets, conservationists, anyone who can help me in my mission of connecting my people to animals through their people. Join me on my Rossifari.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of the Rossifari podcast. Y'all, this is an episode that I am really excited to be bringing to you all because it is not just about an incredible professional in our industry here, but it is about a good friend of mine. Lauren Belcher of Adventure Aquarium and I have become buds. And this is one of those episodes. If you've been listening for a while, you know exactly what I mean when I say that. We get a little goofy. We have a whole lot of fun. We're having a really good time together. And, you know, occasionally we go slightly off script? Okay, that's an understatement, y'all. This might be the episode of all the episodes that is just two friends talking, and you get to be, a fly on the wall, so to speak. And so it's a lot of fun. It's different for Rossifari. One thing I will tell you is that even in the episodes where we go a little off the rails, I tend to do a lot of editing because, you know, we're all hanging out, we're all being friends, we're all having a good time. Sometimes you go a little bit off script or whatever, and I like to tighten things up. I really didn't do that in this episode, except for a few maybe misspeak moments. What you're hearing is exactly what happened in the room. And that even includes towards the end when my next guest, the person you'll be hearing interviewed next week, showed up, and we just brought her on in and kept having a party. This is a really good time, y'all. I also think this is an episode that really relates to everyone's lives because we get into social media a lot and into how that feels when you're on those crazy, Insta, Twitgram book things. And I don't know, I just think I think it's a good conversation. I'm really excited to be bringing it to y'all. So, I want to do that. Before I do quickly though, just a friendly reminder, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Make sure you're following along on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, wherever, at Rossifari. It's at Rossifari Pod on TikTok. And if you would like to help support the pod, you can do so for as little as $3 a month by going to patreon.com/Rossifari. You get some bonus audio from time to time, including earlier this week, I actually released a short, about 10-minute long patron exclusive episode of me just kind of talking to patrons about some things. So if you want to hear me ramble more, you can go and become a patron. And other than that, I think it's time. So here is my interview with the Sea Star of the Year at Adventure Aquarium, Lauren Belcher.
Here at Adventure Aquarium in Camden, New Jersey. We're right across the river from Philadelphia.
I can see it. I can see it right now.
You can see it right behind me. There it is. Yeah, people, little known fact, we have the best waterfront view of Philadelphia. So come on out. You can have a beer or a non-alcoholic beverage and enjoy the skyline. But yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah, she turned around when she said that, which is why it sounded weird.
Oh, I apologize.
She forgets how microphones work.
I'm sorry.
So this is one of those episodes where I'm going to be interviewing someone who is a friend, which I know they always get a little goofier, and I know that y'all like a lot. But so Lauren is the person who I have been coordinating all of my Adventure Aquarium adventures
it's me
with, and we've gotten to be buds. We've hung out here, we've talked, we've laughed, we text, we make fun of people online, all the things. And so now she's in here for an interview, and I'm very excited about this.
I am excited to be here. This is something I didn't think I would get to do. So I'm excited to be included.
Yay. All right. So let's dig into you.
Okay.
Who the hell do you think? No, I'm kidding.
This feels like therapy.
Yeah, right. All right. So tell me about your childhood. No,
Yeah. Oh, God. Off the record.
Okay. You do PR stuff here, digital content, whatever, stupid title. And I'm curious, like, how you got into that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great question. It's kind of random because a lot of people don't really get into the field I'm in the way I did. So my background, my undergrad is in natural resources with a focus on conservation biology. And when I first graduated, I worked with the USGS doing breeding bird surveys with a lot of data collection, which was really, really cool. And I realized I love organizing data. And from there, oh, sorry, that was a fidget toy because I must fidget while speaking. Too much to do.
We've also had almost no eye contact during this interview so far.
I'm
This
really
is
bad
amazing.
at eye contact. Really bad at it. I'm trying. I have to remind myself in my head, and look up. 1, 2. Yeah, no. There's a lot of things. But yes, then I worked at Saguaro National Park as a biotech for about 4 years, which was really, really fun. I like to say it was like the highlight of my career, though I haven't been in careers for that long.
And also, I'm sure you mean before Adventure Aquarium.
Yes, before, of course.
Yes,
of course.
yes.
This is the best job of my life. No, I do really like it for what it affords me. But yeah, so I worked as a biotech, which was really, really cool. I did a ton of field work, which would be anything from invasive species removal to surveying for different ungulates, Gila monsters, saguaros, different types of nurse plants. And then also my favorite part was when I got to be part of the education team and I would take kiddos or adults out into the wild and we would do field work with them, which was cool because I really think it's important to do community science with your community. So it was cool because I had the background in biology and I was able to kind of mix it with education, which I really loved. And then I randomly fell into social media because I realized my national park didn't really have a social media presence. And myself, with one of my coworkers, we kind of took it upon ourselves and started their Instagram at Saguaro National Park. Go follow. And started their Instagram, kind of worked on all their social media, and it was kind of like our side project since we were still in the natural resources department. And it was really fun and it took off. And yeah, it kind of went from there. If you've done a lot of field work or physical activity, manual labor, as you know, it gets very hard on your body. And I had probably one big fall that kind of messed up my back that compounded from an earlier accident. And I just couldn't do the level of field work I was doing anymore. So I randomly saw that the Arizona Sonora Desert Museum, which is another accredited zoo and aquarium.
That place is insane.
It is insane. Go follow them at Desert Museum.
It's amazing.
It is. It's incredible. So you've been there?
I've been there. I actually was going to interview the president CEO or something for the podcast.
Oh, nice.
And then there was a new president CEO happening. I don't think through anything bad. I just think like career change stuff.
Right.
But I wasn't there anymore.
Interesting.
And I was like, no, I really want to go. But I mean, it's amazing.
It's so cool there. I love it. That's the best zoo vibe place I've ever been to, in my opinion, because it's very much focused on the natural habitat, which is really cool. And then it's also a botanical garden. So I love the Desert Museum. But I got hired to do their social media as well as write for their blog. I helped with all their events. I did their symbolic adoption program and a bunch of other random things. And so I kind of found myself in social media. And I got that job because my boss at the time, she had followed Saguaro National Park and she saw their content that they put out. And she was like, this is exactly what I want. It's a mixture of humor with education, which has always been my vibe. I don't think we should take ourselves too seriously ever. and it seems to resonate with people. I saw a lot of national parks when I was working there. We're very serious and to the point and scientific, and I understand that there's a time and place for that. But to me, social media is sometimes not that if you want to reach people outside of your bubble. So I kind of started making like sassier posts. One time I did a post that was, we have like basically something about like, we have the best sunsets in the entire United States. There's no competition. And other national parks started like popping in, like big ones like Grand Canyon, Yosemite, Yellowstone. And they're like, oh, you think so? And I started, it's called #ParkWars. You can look it up. I started it and then I left for my honeymoon and it became this huge thing. And I'm bummed that I wasn't there to be a part of it, but I like had no service and I come back and like the education staff, they were all upset with me in a fun way because I dropped this bomb and then they got a ton of press. And I kind of like to think that that was part of national park social media becoming a little less serious. A lot of people have seen now like the National Park Service Instagram specifically and Twitter is very like sassy and funny. You know, they have the stuff that's like about like bears, like push your friend in front of the bear if you want to get rid of the bear and all that, which is hilarious. And I'd just like to say it wasn't always like that. So I like to think I had a little bit of an influence on being weird, but I don't know.
That. No, I think that makes sense. I think it only takes one person to change things
so
sometimes.
Nice of you.
And
yeah.
I really agree with you. And also, I mean, not being serious, like when I started this podcast, I was literally like, here I am, this big goofy guy who isn't in this world at all, who's decided to do a podcast about it. Basically, this is the dumbest idea ever.
No.
And I decided to be like super like science-y.
Yeah.
With my professional drumming self and making bad puns. And I mean, you know me, I'm a goober. And my first couple episodes are informative and interesting, but like I didn't crack a joke.
Really?
And like somewhere around like the third or fourth episode, so I don't even remember what it was, but somebody gave me such a softball that I made the dumb pun. I made the John Rossi joke. And all these people, and there weren't that many people listening back then, and like a high percentage of the, 20 that listened or whatever reached out and were like, oh, you have a personality. Or like my friends that were trying to listen to it were like, hey, that's funny. The first time it felt like you were doing this podcast. Right. And it was such an eye-opening thing. Yeah. And it changed my whole approach. Yeah. And now I'm just a goofball, like honest, and I still share the info.
And you got more comfortable to be yourself.
Instantly, my numbers went up.
Yes.
And like people who reach out to me to talk about the podcast, they don't usually talk about, oh, I'm learning so much. That comes, and I do hear that. And I've got amazing stories from this pod of things that have happened that I cling to, that whenever things are tough, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're having an impact. But so many people say they stick with it because I'm a goofball. Yeah. And like in my Zoo News episodes, I've started putting at the beginning, like 5 minutes about my life or a funny story that happened with me, or even like when my grandfather died, talking about him, like real stuff. Right. And people love that and reach out to me more about that than to the coolest guests.
Because you're making that connection.
Yeah. And so I think that's really important. Yeah. And I think that it's hard to learn that for an individual, much less for a community like national parks or zoos and aquariums sometimes. Yeah. And that is something, one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you on here was because you've had such an impact on the social media at Adventure Aquarium.
Thank you.
I mean, I've loved this place for a long time, but I've only recently started to love the social media.
Thank you. It's so nice.
It's true, though. You really come up with some cool stuff, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more. Yeah. But some of the dumb but cool things that you do are my favorite and make me feel like I'm here. Yes. Because when I'm here, even though I'm trying to learn, even though I actually read signs, I'm the guy. I also love running through, and I love the fact that when I get here, I have to run to see turtles first.
Of course.
Skipping all the other cool stuff that I like. Like little blue penguins, who cares?
Yeah, go
sea
Bob.
Turtles. Yeah. And like when you do the Monday feature where you like run to your favorite thing, that's me at the aquarium when I get here.
What's your favorite animal? We should do what's your favorite animal at the aquarium.
Oh my gosh, that would be so much fun.
We could do that.
Okay.
If it's not too busy, we'll do it today.
Cool. But like I am it makes me feel like I'm here. Yeah. And it makes me feel like I'm with you and with the biologist that you're using that time or whatever. And I feel a connection to that so much more than I do when it's like, these are our hippos.
Right.
Hippopotamuses are blah, 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 which is also important.
Right.
And you do get that stuff in there too.
Yeah.
But it's done in such a relatable way.
Thank you.
And yeah, I think it's really cool.
That means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. But so you launched Park Wars.
I did that,
And
yes.
go from there.
And, okay, well, that was just one little fun viral moment I had.
Of the many.
Of the many. There's been a few. That sounds so ridiculous. I'm sure there's like more that I can't even remember. That also sounds cocky. I don't mean it that way.
No.
It's literally
it's
that
true.
I have a crap memory.
Well, also, but also
Can
part
I
of
say
it is
crap?
just, you can say anything. I mean, you guys are the ones who I'm worried about the content with. I've
can
dropped
say crap.
F-bombs on here before. So,
We're good. But yeah, so I then worked at the Arizona Sonora Desert Museum, which was absolutely incredible. That was kind of my first time stepping into a marketing role instead of a biology-esque role. And I felt like a imposter. I felt so out of place in multiple ways because one, the marketing people kind of didn't take me seriously. But then also the biology people didn't take me seriously because I was the social media girl.
right.
And that was like my biggest, hurdle almost personally and professionally, because it held me back because I felt like, oh, what am I doing here? Like, I don't know crap about marketing. I don't know, because I knew how to do good social media, but did I know how to do campaigns? Can I tell you what reach and impressions and all these keywords mean and whatever? And so what I found was really successful and what I do to this day is, and kind of what I've always done, like you were saying, once you got back to who you were in your podcast and expressed yourself, your podcast became more popular. Once I kind of just threw away my preconceived notions and like what was frightening me and making me feel like an imposter, I did so much better. So I kind of curated myself to each person that's very much masking in a way. But so if I was going to go talk to the zookeepers, when they first met me at my last job at the Desert Museum and here, I'm very open about, hey, my background's in conservation biology. Hey, I used to intern at the Reed Park Zoo. I guess I forgot about that part.
Fancy.
Yes, I did that. That was fun. And I know about animals in a zoo setting. I know about animals in an aquarium setting. I know about conservation. I'm super passionate about this. I'm passionate about the animals you are passionate about. And I want to show that through the screen, which I think made people much more comfortable and confident in my abilities once they realize, like, I'm not just going to come in and be like, I want a picture of the porcupine doing a headstand while it is eating a pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving. Like I was aware of the limitations. I was aware of the safety, which is huge. And I think a big thing is I'm really aware of the time that zookeepers have. They have no time. They have a huge job to do. And I've always been very respectful of, okay, let's schedule something, but I understand if we need to do it later. Hey, if you're not comfortable with this today, we don't have to do it. Very much focused on making the keepers and then their bosses, so the curators, comfortable and confident in my abilities so that I'm then able to get even better content to share because they're confident that I'm not going to put out anything that could be taken in a bad way where we could get, under fire for something. But yeah, so I think that's one of my talents is really connecting with people and finding that common ground. But yeah, so I worked at the Desert Museum for a while. I did events, which was super fun. I really liked working on events and kind of bringing forth my creativity side and organization and being like a leader in that sense. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And then I moved to Philadelphia during the pandemic. That
Always
was
a good time.
That was
a good time.
A great memory. Gas was $1.09. and I found the aquarium and I started working here and it's been great. I'm in grad school, so I work part-time now so that I can focus on that. And I'm doing a degree in biology. So
yeah, you're doing Project Dragonfly, right?
yeah,
so
you're doing that right.
Yeah,
Twins.
Yay! Woo.
High five.
We just did a high five on the podcast.
We did.
Such nerds.
Yeah.
So how far along in Dragonfly are you?
I am. I don't know. I feel like it's been forever.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to graduate fall of 24.
Okay.
So do the math from there.
Okay. I can't.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
early.
know.
Yeah,
I don't.
makes
Time
sense.
is so like.
But yeah. Well, it's also such a weird like program because it's not structured as much like a normal school thing necessarily.
Right.
So like, yeah, it's not like I'm like, yes, I'm a rising junior.
Yes.
No.
No, I have no idea.
Yeah. Okay.
A rising junior, is that a thing?
In like high school and college, like when you're like when you've kind of finished a year, like my son is in second grade.
That's what I was gonna say. It's
but that's going
like
to be
your
ending
Zodiac.
soon, and it's not that son, my SON.
your
Yeah.
I should have asked you that.
Yes,
Oh my
I'm an
God.
Aries, just in case you couldn't tell.
Pisces.
So my son is in second grade. And like that will be over soon, and then he will be a rising third grader. It sounds weirder when you say the numbers, but yeah, that's what that.
Okay,
yeah,
I'd never heard that.
There you go.
Cool,
fancy. See, we
Things
are
you learn
an
on the
educational
podcast.
podcast in many ways. But yeah, so. That's interesting because one of the questions I was going to ask you, having no idea what your background was, is if you were doing Dragonfly so that you would feel more like, in this world. Because that's what I'm doing.
Right.
I'm specifically doing it for the podcast sake and to be maybe taken more seriously, although I really haven't had that problem other than up in my brain hole. But, isn't that where most of our problems are?
Yes, it is.
But so I guess
All of
not
them.
because you studied Conbi. Oh,
I did.
Conbi? What the...
I don't know what you did there, but I liked it.
Okay. That's good.
So we can roll with it, but I don't know if we should repeat it.
I'm never saying anything.
You do you. It's all good.
Oh boy. Anyway.
Conbio.
Conbio, baby. Yeah. All right. In Spanish, that means with biology.
Vamos a la playa.
Anyway.
Into our...
So
yeah.
let's talk about Adventure Aquarium because we have gone completely off the rails.
We have. It's fine.
Which I love. So you had something really cool happen.
I did.
Which is that you've had many things happen.
I did.
Cool. But you were named Employee of the Year at Adventure Aquarium. And I want to talk about that for a lot of reasons. Mostly though, that's crazy.
Yeah.
There are so many people here who work such crazy hours and dedicate their lives to animals.
They do.
And you got Employee of the Year.
I did.
That's really impressive. That means you really had an impact. So can you tell me what you did to earn that?
Sure. Well, first of all, it's Sea Star of the Year. So...
Anyway, Sea Star of the Year.
And we can go look at my plaque later. No.
Oh, like you didn't already send me pictures of it.
Did I? I was like, oh my God, did I?
No.
How embarrassing. I want to be very transparent to the people of the podcast that if I'm not right now, I got very red when he brought that up because
It's true.
I don't like talking about it and I instantly started sweating. So thank God I'm wearing a cardigan. But yeah, I was named Sea Star of the Year. I had no idea that was going to happen. We had a employee all company breakfast basically where they were going to talk about everything. And it was on one of my days off. I was talking to my boss and I was like, do I really got to go? And she played it off so cool. She did great. She was like, this is Shannon who you talked to yesterday. She was like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry. You know how, I just had an accent there. That was cool. I'm so sorry. No. Anyway, she was like, you have to come in, they're kind of being weird about it. And she played it off and I was like, oh, she's like, yeah, the man. And I was like, oh, the man. She totally got me because normally it is very hard to surprise me. I think just because I'm too hyper vigilant, which is a positive and a negative. And so I came in and my coworker Amaja is kind of looking at me. We're at this table. I'm at the very back. And they start talking about Sea Star of the Year, da-da-da. And Amaja's looking over at me, kind of bouncing in her seat, smiling. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you looking at me like that? And then they start to say something up there about oh, social media. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I literally slammed my head down because I was embarrassed. hit my cranberry juice. It went into my hair. And I was like,
and they immediately took the award away.
Yeah, and then they're like,
no,
not her.
mind.
She's clearly not all there. Little do they know. But yeah, so then I was like sitting there, and then my coworker, Chris, next to me was like, you have to go up. And I was like, no, I don't have to go up. And he's like pushing me. And so I go up, and they hand me this like massive trophy with like a star on it. And like, you know, intrusive thoughts went out that day because the first thing I say was like, oh, you could really murder someone with this. What the heck? Why did I do that? Immediate regret. Immediate. Like, I'm in front of everyone into a mic. Oh my God. Like, what, Lauren? I couldn't even. So I take that and I'm like, well, great. Good job. And, you know, I very quickly, you know, said like, thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Couldn't do it without all of you, which is so generic, but is so, so true. Also, I would like to say I can do social media and be in front of a camera, but if I'm getting called out in front of people, I would like to crawl into ocean realm and just swim with the sharks. And like, that's the end. That's it for me, whatever. So it was not my favorite moment. So if anyone from the aquarium is listening, I do want to say that I appreciate everyone I work with. And there is only one way that I am able to get that award. And that is through everyone that I work with being so open to my crazy ideas, learning how to be on social media, being open to being on social media, because a lot of people are afraid of being on camera, which is totally valid. I'm still afraid to be on camera sometimes. But we work through it, and people actually come up to me saying like, oh, I'm really proud of myself. Like, I did something that like scared me before, and now I kind of want to do it again. And I really love harnessing that confidence in my coworkers. And I tell them all the time, like, hey, this is something you need to add to your resume, like immediately. Go onto your little Google file, add in this thing like, oh, I worked with a social media person. I created videos about education. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Sorry. It's very calming for me. Your question, as we started with, was why me? You know what? Out of all the people that work here, I think a huge portion of people deserve Employee of the Year. And to get
it's C-Star of the Year?
C-Star. I can't believe you got me. You got me. I am a C-Star, just splat on a window. I just always think of Finding Nemo, and there's like a sea star, and he's like dancing. You can't see this, but I'm dancing like a sea star.
This is a very, I wish that I had a camera on this one. This is a very visual. Even as visual. Talking about this, she is just hiding her face, but doing it in such a way that her mouth is not covered so that she can still speak clearly, which I'm
trying to be good for the podcast. I'm learning. I took off all my jangly jewelry, and I know. But yeah, when I received that award, I felt and still feel a little bit of imposter syndrome. I think most of us feel that way when we are recognized for the work that we do, which I think also makes me think a lot about, well, maybe we need to recognize people a little bit more in general. I know there's a lot of like hubbub and conversation about, you know, everyone getting the Green Participation Award and whatnot. But I think there's a lot of people that are doing incredible work here at the aquarium that should be recognized just on a daily basis for doing a great job and being a great coworker and a great human. And I don't really know how to explain why me. I think that I am only able to do my job and show off the aquarium because I have incredibly hardworking coworkers. And I know it sounds really cheesy and it sounds like I'm like trying to like be like, oh, I'm so humble. But it's true. I think, you know, anyone here from the front of house staff to the husbandry team to HR to anyone here, if we don't all work well together, we can't show off the animals. And at the end of the day, that sounds like, you know, we don't want to show them off, but we do want people to come and learn about the animals here. And the best way for us to get people to learn about conservation and be interested about conservation, maybe change their mindset that they previously had, is through kind of showing people these incredible species, animals, and plants that are in this world. And I think all of the people I work with are very passionate about that. So that's my long answer to your short question. Thank
all right.
you.
Well, that's all the time we have for. No, I'm kidding.
He's like, get out.
No, that is cool, and I can tell that you're being very authentic with the thing that you're saying, despite the fact that you're right. It's what everybody says, but like it's often true, and that's important.
Yeah.
You know, but I still want to dig into this a little bit more, though. I'm not letting this go. Just in terms of like. What you just said is 100% true.
Yeah.
But what did they say? What was your impact that led to that?
Sure.
Was it team building stuff? Was it getting bigger numbers? Like something led to that other than them just being like, who can we embarrass the most?
Who will take this award and not kill people with it? Oops. Just disclaimer, that did not happen. You know, I kind of wish they had told me a little bit more, preferably in private, about what they liked about me. If I'm honest, they basically said kind of generic things at the award ceremony. And also I blacked out immediately once I realized it was me. So I don't remember anything they said, but the stuff that's been said to me from like my bosses and my coworkers is kind of like what you were talking about is almost like waking up our social media, if I could say it that way, and giving it a new life that is relatable and compassionate and funny and a little bit weird and kind of chaotic. I love chaos.
Yes.
Good chaos, of course.
Yes. And
I started our TikTok account. See, and even now I'm like feeling I feel lame saying that. And I think that's so funny because I'm aware that TikTok has like a huge presence in not just the world, but like the conservation world. It has a huge presence in education. But like, even if I tell people like, oh, I started our TikTok, like, see, I got quieter. I started our TikTok and I got us to over 100,000 followers in under a year. And I had a lot of viral videos and yada, yada, yada. I still feel that imposter syndrome because part of me has a little voice that's like, who cares? TikTok's stupid. Social media's stupid. And I will say, honestly, part of me really hates social media. But yeah, I think we can get back to that later. That was a little drop, but,
I mean, I'm actually with you, so I get it.
Yeah. It's a love-hate relationship. But yeah, so I don't know. I think what I said, I breathed life into our social media. And also I think a big part of it is I created a connection between the marketing team and the husbandry team that was not, to my understanding, was not very prevalent before. I don't know what that was. Sorry. There was just a sound above us that sounded like a little giant.
Yeah, it was interesting.
So if this is our last podcast together and this falls, it's been fun. But yeah, I don't know if that's a good enough answer. I think just like creating those connections, showing off our team, making our team feel more connected to the aquarium, because specifically, I also want to make sure that I shout out like our husbandry team is, of course, incredibly vital to the success of the aquarium, but so is our front of house staff. So our guest experiences and our guest services, you know, they deal and do incredible work. That didn't make sense, but they deal with a lot and they do incredible work. They do a lot of the education on the front lines. They work with all the people. They answer all the questions. They deal with all the difficult people. Mm-hmm. And I think one of my goals for this upcoming year is to kind of connect a little bit more with our guest services and guest experiences, because I mostly work with the husbandry team, right, which makes sense. Mm-hmm. But yeah, again, another long answer to your question, I think I create really good connections.
Absolutely.
And I think I make
Absolutely
people
you do.
proud of where they work.
That's really cool. And that's important. I mean, that's really important.
I think so.
And I think you're right, especially on the guest services thing, too. I think that's a good idea. I will tell you, I mean, I had, back before I was a Mr. Rossifari, I somehow got overcharged for a sea turtle meet and greet here. And I realized it when I was here and, went up to the team. And I mean, I was chill. I'm usually chill.
Yeah.
But just the way that they handled it was really good.
Yeah.
And that was, those little things make a difference. And it did not take away from my day.
Yeah.
It did not take away from my experience with adventure.
Right.
I did not have that vibe of ugh, if I walk in, I have to see that person again,
Sure.
And it was cool. It was quick. It was easy. I was frustrated for all of 30 seconds from the time I realized it to the time that I spoke to them. And then they were like, cool. We got you. And I was like, cool. All right, moving on.
Yeah.
And I went and I had a great day at the aquarium.
Perfect.
And
I'm
that
so
kind
glad
of
to
thing
hear that.
is cool.
Yeah.
And I do think it's really important that, teams feel connected. In this industry, there's a lot of not that.
Yes.
And I can see in the social media stuff that you do, and also in the fact that you hang out with a lot of these goobers outside of work, that you're doing team building, that this is a very tight-knit community. I find it very interesting. The number of people who follow my Insta and listen to the podcast because of talking to other people here, finding out about it. And then they feel comfortable enough to reach out to me. I've talked to numerous biologists here just on social media in a friendly way that I've not talked to on the pod, that I've not met here.
Right.
But just it's I get to be a small part of that community.
Yeah.
And because there's that community sense, I don't get that at a lot of facilities. It's I'll meet, Bob at a zoo, and then the next time I'm there, I'll meet Jane, but Bob doesn't talk to Jane about it and stuff like that. And here it seems like a really big thing.
Yeah, most people know each other pretty well.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it is really good. Of course, there's the separations that we have between say our bird and mammal team and the fish and invertebrate, but that's just from where you work.
Well, yeah.
But yes, everyone is very connected and it's cool. And I think I'm thinking that I forgot what I was going to say. So take that out.
Excellent. I will do that. Or leave it in. One or the other.
Do what you want with it. It's your podcast.
No, but so you mentioned having a love-hate relationship with social media.
I do.
And I do too. My personal Instagram and my personal Facebook are basically dead.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I will throw up something about a gig, or if I get a real cute pic of my kid or something, I'll throw it up there. But even then, I'm I've already texted it to the people that I care about saying it.
Right.
I don't care if one of my high school friends who I haven't spoken to in way too many years sees this picture, really. But then for Rossifari, I have to be everyone pay attention to me, always.
Yes.
And I am bad at it sometimes, and I feel guilty, and I don't keep up my TikTok as much, and I should. I have 30-some-thousand followers on there. Go give them stuff, but it's a whole nother
Wait, is that
app.
Rossifari or TikTok?
Yeah,
okay, cool.
And it's even though my following on Insta is smaller, I like Insta more.
Well, if you connect with those people more, and when you like a certain platform more, it comes through in the work you do. So
I think
that's
agree
important.
With that. Yeah. But I want to do it all. I wish I could get paid to do this. I wish that Rossifari were more of a job where I could put in more time because, it's not.
Right.
And I would put in the time, but even then I'm always whoa. Yeah. Is there supposed to be a car back behind us just turning around and driving?
Oh, this happens occasionally. Welcome to
Why are you driving backwards?
Delaware waterfront.
Why are you driving backwards, sir?
This is common. We have vehicles that just come and drive on I don't even know how they do it.
It's a pedestrian pathway.
I don't know who this is.
Sir.
Maybe they're getting the trash can? No, they're just walking.
Are they just trying to avoid to pay for parking at Adventure Aquarium?
You know what? That's valid.
Goodness. Anyway, we'll get back to the podcast, but that's insane. There's just the person there.
Yeah. When I first started here, I kind of alerted people, and now I found out that that's just pretty common.
All right.
Yeah. Well, so who knows? They just drive along. Who knows?
Yeah, it's not the worst and weirdest driving I've seen in the Philadelphia area.
No.
But cool. So tell me about your thoughts, though, and why you have this love-hate relationship.
I think, so I'm just like you. my personal social media has gone to crap since when I'm professionally working on social media, because I don't have the wherewithal or brain capacity to think of any sort of caption, even if it's like, this is me at the beach. Like I don't care. I don't want to size the photo. I don't want to edit it. I just don't want to. But I do it occasionally because it is fun and I do miss it for fun. But anyway, my love-hate relationship happens because I think social media, and everyone and anyone has probably said this, can be incredibly toxic. Social media really kind of hones in on comparison, which I think as a human species we struggle with, and can really affect your mental health as someone who already has diagnosed everything. I'll just put it there. I was about to list and I was like, I'll just leave it there. Mystery. Who is she? You can probably just guess by everything that you've said about me. She won't make eye contact. She rambles. She changed subjects quickly.
To be fair, I didn't say that second or third one. That's just evidence on the podcast.
And I'm literally playing with a fidget toy. And I asked John if he wanted one.
It's true.
I just think comparison, this is such a cheesy quote, but it is so true. Comparison is the thief of joy. And even if we know intellectually, from what you're doing with your life, from your job, from your friends, your family, what your family structure looks like, to how you physically look, what you are physically doing, it's very easy, even if you're confident in yourself and loving what you're doing, it's hard to see day in and day out people's curated social media and not have that small inkling of oh, I want that, or I want to look like that, or, why isn't my family like that, right? So I think especially for youths who maybe can't discern that difference yet, it can be very toxic to your well-being. And I don't like how I feel when I'm on social media too long, just mindlessly scrolling, doom scrolling, if you will.
It's such a good name for it.
It's a really good name. I hate and love all of the new terms that come out and then everyone uses it. You're like, oh, doom scrolling, gaslighting, blah, blah, blah. They're all very true and good to know the lingo. But yeah, I just feel when I take social media hiatuses, I am more of myself and tapped into what I find is important, hanging out and being with myself or people I love, which I also love myself. So I'm going to put that in that context. But so with social media, I have to do it for my job, right? So I am constantly on this creativity, how can I make something the best it can be grind? And for me to go do it personally ever is not going to happen. I just don't have the bandwidth for that.
But because what you said is very real. It comes down to comparison, and it comes down to algorithms that don't understand what we're doing.
Right.
And I will spend an hour coming up with a brilliant caption and get 30 likes.
Right.
And then post a photo that's slightly blurry because I wasn't really focused on social media that day.
Right.
And a caption that's like, this is a hippo, and get 200 likes and be I hate everyone and everything.
Right.
I remember literally going super viral with, the drumming with Emily the elephant video. That
so
was incredible.
That. Yeah.
But then my very next video was me, was red pandas painting with paintbrushes. It's insane. And no one cared. And red pandas usually go more viral than anything I do, in general. And I was just none of this makes sense. None of this is logical, whatever. I had an experience once that I think kind of plays into what you were talking about. I'm going to share two quick stories. So first of all, I was on tour with $1 Million Quartet, and it's always been my dream to be a touring drummer. That was it. So
I love that you
was
just dropped that. That was so
doing
cool.
The thing. But so I'm on this tour, and I'm literally on a tour bus. I am in my bunk on a tour bus, like I always wanted to be.
You have a bunk?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm cuddling my stuffed red panda red, and I'm doom scrolling, and I come upon somebody who booked a small gig at a theater that I wouldn't take the gig probably if I wasn't working because they can't really afford me. And like, you know, I'm at a certain point in my career and great for this person, but
Right.
And I started to feel jealous as I'm on a tour bus. And I was like,
Right.
I'm putting this down right now.
Good.
And
Good
luckily
that
I
you recognized
realized
it.
that.
Yeah.
But like, it was a weird moment being jealous that they booked when I was literally, and I don't remember what show it was, but it was like a show that I wouldn't want to do. And I was doing a show that I love.
Right.
And again, in a bunk on a tour bus, being driven to some gas station so I can pee at 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, like this is the dream. Yeah. Kind of. And
I have had the same exact thing
and
before.
then recently, okay, so I'm doing, I hope no one listens, but whatever. I like being open on this podcast.
Everyone should listen to this one.
I'm doing a production of a show right now, and it is a show that I love, and it is not my favorite production of it. Great people, but just the show is a bit of a mess. And I saw a picture from it with this really excited post, like, coming up on a big weekend of shows, blah, blah, blah. And it didn't register immediately that it was my show. And I started to feel pangs of jealousy for this person.
Interesting.
And then like, because it was just like, I was just scrolling quick and I just saw a picture of the show and I was like, oh, I would love to be in. That's me. I'm in the background of that photo. Wait, not only, okay, this picture looks way better than anything we're doing on stage right now.
Yeah.
And also we have like no audience coming to tonight's show. And like this post is like a big brag about it.
Right.
And I was like, ew, social media, gross.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're talking about. It's that same kind of thing of just like, I was jealous of my own show that I didn't want to play. Yeah. That's so weird, you know?
And I feel like that's kind of why, like, I find myself, if I'm going to be scrolling on social media, I scroll through TikTok more than I do Instagram because I find TikTok has less things that I become, I don't know, jealous or want to be a part of, and more for me, like whatever my For You page has created, more educational type things. So I learn a lot, which I love. But then the problem with TikTok is it's so easy to like be absorbed for like an hour.
Right.
And that's me being, you know, small about my numbers. But fair. I agree. Social media, it's very addictive. I think that there's just so much that we miss when we're in our phones. And I think it's a really easy way to put a patch on, like if you're feeling crappy for that day, you can just scroll through social media and you might actually feel crappier at the end of the day instead of better. So I don't know. I think sometimes I like to say a lot of the times if I didn't work in social media, I would not have social media. And I stand by that. And there's only a few reasons why I want to keep social media. Besides, like, I really do love social media. I love TikTok. I love what I learned from TikTok. But like, I could be fine with not having that. The only thing is like, I keep my Facebook active so I can talk to my uncle. Like literally that is it.
Yeah. I get gig offers from it sometimes. So same thing. Yeah.
Oh, and Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah. But no, that kind of, it's so interesting. You know what's funny? My favorite social media for my own usage is Twitter.
Really?
And Twitter sucks for everyone. But here's why. I don't tweet.
Oh, you just enjoy?
Curated a very specific list of very specific interests.
Yes.
I never look at the suggested page. I only look at my follows. And unlike the other social media apps out there, they don't even make suggestions like in your feed on Twitter. Even though I hate everything that's going on with Twitter right now, I can get on Twitter and actually enjoy every single post. And, you know, honestly, like my Instagram is filled with beautiful people because I work in the entertainment industry.
Sure.
So I'm constantly comparing myself and feeling bad. And, you know, and then even sometimes like with like zoo content and stuff and the educational content, I start to feel, why aren't I doing this? Why am I watching this video instead of, you know, getting out of bed, taking a shower, and talking about something I know and putting it out into the world. And it's like, it's a weird vibe. Right. But at the same time, my podcast would have 6 listeners if it wasn't for social media. And I have learned amazing things from social media. And my Zoo News podcast, people send me articles and tag me in articles all the time. When I first started, I was doing 3-4 hours of research a week just to find stories to cobble together.
Right.
Now I have so many that there are weeks, I think this week I was able to use 40% of the stories I was sent.
Wow.
That's
incredible.
amazing.
That is amazing.
You know? So
That's
it's like,
really
it
cool.
is a beautiful thing. But then also I get on and one of my friends has decided to, you know, post some photo of them, you know, working out. And I'm like, my belly's gotten big. You know, like it is what it is. It's like, it's really interesting. It's like a minefield in one way, but then also like it's just all human knowledge.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like a multiverse of, it's like a library, but virtual. And I love it. But I mean, I wouldn't have gotten this job if I didn't have social media because I met Sam, who's a husbandry person here. Biologist is her term. She's outside that door behind you.
Oh, that's exciting.
Because I met her through social media, and that's how I learned about the aquarium. Because I didn't know about the aquarium when I moved here.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of how I got this job.
Yeah. And I mean, I also met Sam through social media. And now we're going to do an interview. Yeah. It's cool. Yeah. So that is, these things are it's interesting.
It's interesting.
It's very interesting.
I agree.
Yeah. There will be papers. Like, I'm sure there already are some, but like, it will be interesting. I won't be there, but 100, 200 years from now, see what people think of this time.
Yeah.
And the misinformation. And, you know, I had like 10 people send me a baby peacock the other day and it's fake. It's an AI art rendering. It's
interesting.
Beautiful, but it's anyone who's ever seen a baby bird knows what they do and don't look like.
Right.
And it was this like gorgeous little, like adorable. I wish it was real.
Right. You're like, I don't look like that.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
But but so many people just sent it to me with the best intentions.
Right.
Have you seen this? I didn't realize. And I'm like,
that's really interesting.
But
AI is going to take over. We'll see. Yeah, I'm actually doing part of my research for this semester for my grad program is about social media. So I'm excited to kind of see what I learn and how social media can be a benefit and a detriment to conservation work, and hopefully bring some of that back into work. So I'm really excited about that.
That's cool. So we have more stuff, but shall we let
pause?
Sam in?
Yes, let's let her in.
Okay. I'm going to keep this all recording for now.
Let's
just
keep
to
it
kind of
on.
play with it and have fun.
Let's see what happens. Sam.
Next victim.
I'm sorry.
Hey, Fred.
Did you do your hair?
Hey, good.
Did you do your hair for this?
I blew it out last night.
Girl, it's a podcast.
I mean, it's going to go up. Hi. It's so good to see you.
Finally,
This girl's on point
for real.
100% of the time. With my hair, am I shedding this?
Yes, please. We need the quietness.
And of course she did her hair. Have you seen her social media presence?
I know.
Always has to
She's
do
like, look, I'm
everything.
stunning.
Where am I sitting?
For here for
You're
now.
going to sit there, but yeah, have a seat. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's going to go immediately up, though. This is I'm going down the shore tomorrow here.
Nice.
Ah.
Nice. Awesome. Welcome.
Hi.
So just so you know, we are currently recording. I don't usually do this, but I'm being goofy. And our
He's in a
interview-
silly, goofy mood.
Our interview has been ridiculous because, you know, we're buds.
Because we're
having fun.
crazy.
Yeah. So this will just probably, some of this will creep on and just kind of show people. I like showing people like how the stuff gets made. Yeah. But yeah, so we will we will do your interview here and then finish up yours. Is that how you want to do this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. Cool. We'll be back after the next interview.
Ooh.
Okay, so I lied, and we're just going to keep recording because Lauren didn't listen when I asked if we should stop. So
Yeah,
okay,
sorry.
very good, all good, friend. So, y'all, this is what the podcast normally sounds like sometimes, and then I edit it down. But since Lauren and I are friends, we're just kind of you're hearing how this
We're
gets
just
made.
winging it.
Yeah,
You're
so,
with us.
So Sam is with us now, not on mic, but she's here, and we're going to do an episode with her. But if you hear laughter in the background or random shouted out comments, that is why.
That's a ghost.
Yes. It's whoever was knocking on the ceiling earlier.
Oh, true. The Yeti.
But so I want to talk about something with social media that Sam actually brought up.
Yes.
Which is trolls.
Ooh, dun, dun,
And
dun.
you know, there's a lot of this anti-captivity world out there, and there are people who you could actually train Anchor to speak English and have Anchor say, "No, I'm very happy. They take great care of me." And these people would still be like, "No, screw you. You're wrong because aquariums are evil," or whatever. And I'm just curious, like, what's your strategy with that? How do you handle that? And not only how do you handle it professionally, but how do you handle it personally? Because these people are your friends. And I know when it's my friends, whether they're actual friends or even just people that I really like on social media, I take that personally. So tell me about your thought on it.
Yeah. So we'll start personally. I think so. I've been in the social media world for over 10 years now. And I think in the beginning, people would say things and it was like they had personally just stabbed me in the heart.
Yes.
I was like, how dare you? Do you not know me? Like, but of course they don't know me. Also, people are so bold behind a screen. It is insane. We all know this. What people would say behind a screen, they would rarely say to your face.
Although sadly, they're starting to more now in the real world.
They
I really think that's
are.
something that social media is doing.
I
It's
agree.
insane. But
Yeah,
anyway,
that's
but you
a
are right.
whole
You-
other
yes,
topic.
Yes. But you are correct. That is the thing.
But yeah, so I think I used to take a lot of things very personally. And for me, just because I'm always checking in on my own mental health and making sure what I'm doing serves me the best, I kind of had to start practicing letting things go. So, if we want to be very therapeutic about it, when you're feeling an emotion, I don't like to say a negative emotion because all of your emotions are emotions. So if you're, say, angry or upset, kind of practicing allowing that to flow through you and accepting the feeling of being angry. I do the same thing. This sounds very like, of me, but I do the same thing with negative social media. Most of the time, we'll come back to when it's not most of the time. I kind of let it flow through me because it doesn't affect me at the end of the day. These people don't know me at the end of the day. I know me. My friends know me. If anyone wants to attack me personally, which people have, like if I'm out doing like a video and I'm front facing in front of the camera, people have said things before that aren't the nicest, but it's also like, whatever. So that's kind of personally what I do. Occasionally, I will, thank God for my office buddy, Amaja. I'll just say them out loud. I'll be like, oh, are you kidding me? And then I'll just be like, so-and-so, Cheryl from Cincinnati thinks she knows what's up. And she just said, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, she doesn't even know anything, like she doesn't even go here. And Amaja's like my, my wing woman. She's my ride or die. She'll be like, yeah, what the heck? And like, probably not what the heck, but as I'm being Adventure Aquarium today, we will say what the heck. And it's kind of nice to have that, you get out that anxiety, that upset quickly, and then you move on. So that's personally. Professionally, in the beginning, I was also very hyped, like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Now it is very, it's self-regulating, which I love. People will come if you give it enough time, like, because I see it almost immediately, right? Because it's my job. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to address this. If I give it 2 hours, Bob will write some horrible comment about all of our animals deserve to be back in the ocean. And I'm like, one of our animals is missing a leg. They're not going to do well. But, I'm not going to say that. Someone who is a follower, a friend of the aquarium will go on there themselves and they'll either A, just kind of like put it down as it is and be very factual about it, which I think is always the best response. Or B, sometimes people will be sassy back, which, like inside it brings me a small bit of joy.
Yes. It is the best response, even if it's not the best response.
Even if it's not, I'm like, hee. I got a little glee off of that. And I probably shouldn't, but I do. So professionally, a lot of times I just let things self-regulate. And then also kind of what I learned is there is some people, and I can tell by how they write, what they're writing, and how often they're writing, that it does not matter what I say at all. They are never going to respond or listen. A lot of times people, when they comment on social media, they just want to get their opinion out and show the world that they're so smart or like whatever. Wow, that was a lot of like internal like judgment coming out.
But it was also very real. I mean, I deal with these same people.
Yes.
Like, I've had some crazies.
You get those people. Like I could tell you a list of who those people are, but I will not. But I just ignore them. There's nothing I'm going to be able to do. And honestly, a lot of times them putting a comment out there looks worse on them. Yeah. Actually, I would say all the time. It looks worse on them than it looks on us at all. And then there's the few, it's fairly rare that I will step in and write something. usually if I'm writing something, it is in response to like an animal welfare complaint.
Right.
So like this exhibit is too small. That's a common one. And we can explain that, oh, they have a night house. Oh, they have, you know, this other area that they fly in. You know, we have an upstairs aviary. You know, all those things, those are important because a lot of people don't know because they don't see. And I think that's a valid concern. But that's also something that we don't just like parade around. We do behind the scenes stuff, but we're not like, look at our entire facility. And that's, you know, part of safety as well as just kind of visually. People don't really like to see behind the scenes stuff as much. But yeah.
I feel like that's more of a factual answer than a feelings answer. Because like you said, some people want to get their feelings out there. And you're like, okay, well, I'm going to respond in the scientific, you know, regulated and perfected answer. And, you know, hopefully that alleviates this feeling that you're having.
Yes.
If it doesn't, you can go ahead and do further and investigation, or you can go look it up online or something.
I agree.
Yeah.
This is Sam. She's
Yes,
coming
sorry.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She added in a little
I don't
fact
think we sound
versus
the same.
feelings. I don't know if we do either,
Fact
but
versus
Don't.
feelings is always
yeah,
the
fact
best
versus
route
feelings
to go.
is yes.
That makes a lot of sense. I actually really like that terminology.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to engage with people that seem worth engaging with.
Sure.
And sometimes I find out that I'm wrong, and then I'm like, oh, now I'm in it.
Yeah.
But normally, like, you know, Sam, you mentioned before we were recording here that, like, you've seen me jump in on stuff and, like, try to help out. I think that is an important thing that I do as an inside outsider.
Yes.
I have an amazing understanding of this industry now. I have been behind the scenes all over the country. I have seen things that people don't get to see and can describe them.
Right.
But I'm also not paid by any of y'all.
Right.
And I've also had moments where I've called out zoos and aquariums when things weren't great. I've tried to work behind the scenes or whatever, or sometimes on the pod.
Sure.
And so I can be a trusted voice if someone will listen and will let me explain that. But like I've had people be like, you know, oh, you're defending whatever, Bob's Aquarium, because we're just everything's Bob today.
Everything is Bob.
And you know, you're defending Bob's Aquarium, and you work for them, so blah blah, or they pay you. And I was like, no, they don't. I'm actually a member, or actually,
I'm a free
you know,
agent.
no, I would trust me if I could. I could probably get bigger by exposing something, but like I go to these places, I see the things, I'm comfortable, or I wouldn't feature them.
Right.
And honestly, this one reason I've stuck with accredited facilities. There are good non-accredited facilities out there. There truly are. But I can't vet that.
Yep.
And my biggest fear, and I mean, this could still happen at an accredited facility. There are places that have issues and you know, that changes. But my biggest fear is I'm going to show up somewhere. And I'm going to do an episode, and at the end, I'm going to be like, well, I can't release this.
Yep.
That was trash or whatever, you know? And it had, being accredited helps normally me feel better about that. But it's been really cool. Like the places that let me behind the scenes and I see stuff, I don't have issues normally. I see how great it all is. I see people interacting with their animals. And so I can be that voice. But again, only if they're just not an idiot troll.
Right.
You know?
Well, as a social media manager, we appreciate when people who are educated come to our defense, because then we don't have to do it. And it's very nice.
That's actually good to know, because I was thinking about that there's a controversy happening right now. By the time I talked about it in Zoo News this week, but I mean, this will be out in a couple months, so I won't even say what it is right now. But and people are just being idiots about something, and I almost dove in, and then I was like, I don't know if this facility would want me to do that because of how they responded to.
I think it's like
it's interesting.
It's a case by case.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do know sometimes probably it would not be the best.
Yeah, but I think I'm good at judging.
But yeah, I bet you are.
And honestly, it also depends on where my mental capacity is that day.
Right. Do you want to take on a troll who's just going to troll you back? No.
Yeah. And it's like, cool, I've been doom scrolling and I'm in a bad headspace, and now I'm going to attack this person and get into it. Yay.
Right.
Because I have gotten, I don't know if you have encountered any of this, and I would hope that being a like professional facility, you don't. But I've gotten, I've had to reach out to the police. I've had people threaten me. I've had people try to find, and I mean, like my info, like my phone number stuff is out there for my drumming stuff, you know, and I've had people call. I had somebody threaten to show up at my house, and no one was home at the time. It was actually I was like, if this nut is actually going to do that, they're going to show up to an empty house. I'm on tour, and you know, all is well.
That's terrifying.
But like, it's interesting.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, Adventure Aquarium has state police on site, so
And also just random people driving by on the pedestrian pathways
also have
sometimes.
rando
So like
people.
if you show up to attack somebody, you might get run over.
It's true. There are cars everywhere, and
Yeah, there was just a person driving
they
there.
were just driving. You know how they drive there.
Yeah.
I can't stop looking at this view.
I know. It's crazy.
really nice.
Yeah. But all right. So we have been going for a while now. And maybe at some point we could have talked about the aquarium, but we didn't. But that's fine. No,
That's fine. We can do it next time.
Yeah,
We'll
great,
do part
great.
2.
Yeah. But so there are the last two things I always ask, of course,
Yes.
are: is there a conservation organization that you would like to give a shout out to that we definitely don't need to pause right now while you look up their
No, I'm
information
totally
online?
good. I know exactly what I want to talk about.
Perfect.
They're called sand cob.
Yes, I love sand
You
cob.
love sand cob.
Yes.
We love African penguins here, as we do have a colony of African penguins here. Come see them. They're very cool. Come see Cliff, our oldest African penguin. He just turned 35 and he's very cute and old. We also have little blue penguins, just so you know. I got
one
to
of the
plug
few
some.
facilities
yes,
that have
one of the
them.
few.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
actually
yeah.
had 4 chicks this year.
I know. We've
which
talked
is
about them on
super
Zoo
cute.
News. It's so
Oh my gosh,
exciting.
thank you for talking about them. They're
Of
very, very
course.
cute. We're naming the last 2 like right now. So we will release that shortly. They're very cute.
I'm just saying, a penguin named Rossifari would not suck. Just putting it into the world.
You know what? I love putting things into the world like that. I think that's a great idea. One of the options for a name, I think I can put this on here. I wouldn't be able to put this on social media, but one of the options for one of the names is Brinsia,
Oh, Brinzia.
Brinzia, which is the name of the incubator that the eggs would go in.
That's
And I
amazing.
really want that to be one of the names. So
That's amazing.
fingers crossed, I am rooting for that one because I think it's funny.
Nice.
Because I want to do one of those TikToks that's like, show what you're named after, and it's an incubator.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so sand cob. Sand cob, they advocate for African penguins and other shorebirds on the African coast. And I think they just do really cool work. Honestly, if I lived down in South Africa, I would intern with them because they do really cool work. So that's who I'm shouting out.
Nice.
Check them out on social media. They have a really good Instagram.
They do. Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool.
Very, very cool.
And then
It's time now, don't you know? We've come to the end of the show. But there's one tale left to go. You're gonna laugh and say, oh no. It's time for the Rossifari poop story.
it is time for the poop story.
Poop story. Sorry.
You realize that that's going to be one of them that I throw into episodes now, right?
Perfect.
Just by doing that, you are now, that will be a
We
thing.
can like bring it in. Yeah, I'll give you a poop story. Poop story. Mine is not, I mean, like, I like telling the story because I think it is funny now because I lived it and I'm over it, but it's kind of scary. So when I used to intern at the zoo, interns were allowed to drive the golf carts. And I work specifically with the tigers, the otters, occasionally hoofstock. Shout out to Kim. I don't know if she listens to this, but she was my guide, my keeper who was in charge of me, and I loved her dearly. Love her dearly. But I also helped out with the elephants. And when I say took care of, I did the grunt work. I did all the cleaning, right? Which is fine. I love cleaning. I love mucking stalls specifically.
You like cleaning?
I like cleaning.
Ma'am, I've seen your office.
Sir, I'm not going to throw people under the bus on the podcast. My corner was clean. I like literally once a month just go in there and just clean everything.
Amazing.
Anyway, so I was also part of the elephant crew, which was, lifelong goals because I think most people love elephants.
Mm-hmm.
I have always been obsessed. I don't tell people I'm obsessed because then all you get is elephant gifts, right?
Oh my God.
When you tell people you love an animal and they're like, oh, that's their whole personality. Like, I bet you get red panda stuff.
So much red panda
Yeah,
stuff.
which I know you're not
I
upset
love,
about.
but so much.
But I would get figurines and jewelry and specifically jewelry I don't want to wear. I love supporting animals, but I don't want a little. Anyway, okay, I digress.
Yeah, why would you wear animal jewelry? He says,
Why would
while
you wear
hiding
as he
his
puts away his
sea turtle
really
necklace?
cool? But see, that's cool. I would get
Which, by the way, was purchased at the gift shop at Adventure Aquarium.
Aquarium. We love that place.
So that you have to rotate.
I mean, it's actually kind of an issue that I have.
He's
yeah,
I could. But see, that's cool. I would get tchotchke.
No,
know.
I
Anyway.
have a lot of things that I'm like,
It
oh,
was
okay.
too much. It was too much. Poop story. Sam is chanting poop story, because I got distracted because I easily get distracted. So I'm focusing, which is also why I don't make eye contact so I can focus. Okay. So I was also part of the elephant crew care team. And I did all the cleaning, right? Elephants create a lot of mess, as many people know. And we were, as interns, we would drive the little club carts, the little golf carts into the exhibit when obviously the elephants are off exhibit. We'd pick up all the poop and then we'd drive out. We'd, set up their enrichment for the day. With like elephants, it's like giant flippin' logs with like, hay in random places. And it was awesome. The Reed Park Zoo elephant, habitat is really, really cool if you ever get to go visit. So I was an intern and there was a new intern who had just started, and I'm not going to call her out by name at all, but she wanted to drive. And I was like, okay, yeah, she can drive. That's cool. I let her drive. And I don't know if I'm able to explain this to your ears, but basically in the exhibit, there is a very steep hill that then goes down to a divot that then becomes the wall, and then the people are behind the wall. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hill divot wall.
Hill divot wall. So very steep. So she was driving the club car, full of poop, mind you. And this is a club cart, so it's not a golf cart. There's no top on it. She's driving it, and she's hitting the side of, she drives back and hits the side of the steep hill, right? Going very fast. And I remember I'm like holding on, I'm like joking, right? Because I'm not her boss. I'm another intern. I'm just more seasoned, if you will. And I'm like, slow down, speed racer. I literally was like, like finger gunning, like, ha, 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 like joking, but also like, slow down, dude. Like, this is fast. She hits the edge of the hill, steep hill, going too fast, and then tries to correct her turn too fast. The whole cart flips over. Ooh. I push her out to the side that's like the flat side. And I was about to turn around so I could show you visually, but then you can't hear. So I push her out as we're kind of turning. So she flies to like the flat side, but with the gravity, I go under the cart.
Oh, shoot.
And it completely flips over on top of me with all of the elephant poop.
Oh, no.
And drags me down the hill.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was really bad. I'm like laughing, but it was really bad. Yeah. Sam is aghast. I'm going to tell you what she looks like on the side.
This is actually why Lauren works at an aquarium now, because they don't do golf carts at aquariums, only at zoos.
Do golf carts. And, I don't even know if I'm supposed to tell this story, but whatever. Like, I'm like thinking back, I'm like, did I sign paperwork?
No, I'm sure you didn't.
I was in college. It was forever ago. I skid down this hill, and I don't know how I did this, because this is sounding like I'm bragging, but I'm not. I not only pushed her out of the cart, I positioned myself so that when it flipped over, I wasn't crushed because I was in the seated area, like where the dip is, where your legs would go. I like moved my body in there, but I still got dragged down by the cart on top of me. So then I'm just laying there, and elephant poop is everywhere. Everywhere, but it's not on me. It's just like surrounding me. Like, it was like, I would imagine if like a drone was above me, it would be an amazing shot. Cause I'm just like, what the hell just happened? And there's just like, a cart on top of me. It's like wheels are spinning still, right? And there's no one around. And then like everything's quiet. And then everyone's like, oh my God. And they're like running towards me. I'm miming running, just so you know. They're running towards me. And I'm just like standing or like laying down there. And someone comes and just pulls me out from underneath, which after I did my wilderness first responder training, I found out that was not the way to take care of a possible neck or back injury.
No, it is not.
Thankfully, I was mostly okay. So she yanks me out. And they're like, oh my God, are you okay? And I didn't know at the time I was having an adrenaline rush. And I was like, yeah, I'm totally good. Like, totally fine. I just need to sit here for a second. So I'm sitting there. And I'm like, that was really crazy. That was crazy. And they're like turning the cart back over. They're like the poop we already picked up, they're like putting it back into the car. Like, we got to get ready for opening. And I'm just like sitting there like, what the hell? And so they drive me to the office because they have to like take a statement or whatever. And then when they find out what it is, they're like, you have to go to the emergency room. And I was like, do I have to? Like, I feel fine. And I'm sitting in the office and I call her my keeper, but Kim, my head keeper in charge of me, she comes in, she's like, holy crap, I just heard on the radio. She did not say crap, by the way. Holy crap, I just heard on the radio that an intern got hurt and it's you. Like, are you okay? And right when she said, are you okay? The adrenaline dropped and it all hit me immediately. And I started like sobbing and the pain hit me. And my back was on fire. It hurt so bad. So I went to the emergency room. They had to take x-rays. Thank God I didn't break anything, but I had pulled and like strained a lot of my back muscles. So they were very, very, very messed up. They gave me muscle relaxants and major pain medication. That day, because I would go and I would intern in the morning before my college classes. That day was one of my finals. I call my professor and I'm like, I just really don't think I could come in. Like, I was in an accident. My back hurts really bad. And he's like, oh my God, like woman tears. Ah. And like, I'm trying to be cool, but I'm also like in a lot of freaking pain. And he is like, it's fine. It's fine. Like, you're fine. Like, don't come in. We'll reschedule it. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. And he's like, like wanting to get off the phone with me so fast. And so gets off the phone. I go home. I have to ice it, pain medication, muscle relaxers, whatever. Like 3 days later, I go back to school and I have to take a different final. And I was like, so uncomfortable sitting in my desk, right? I know this is not about poop anymore, but I'm finishing this. And
this has just been one long therapy session for you.
You know
so we
what?
might as well
this
stick
is
with
like
it.
who I am. This is why people talk to me. They're like, let's just talk it out. And I'm like, tell me your problems. That's why I put up strong boundaries now. I like go into my final and I turn to my one of my friends, one of my classmates, Jen, and I was like, I have to take muscle relaxants because I can't sit in this desk. I'm in so much pain. So I take the muscle relaxants, and that was my first time taking them because I was trying to avoid them. Oh no, it was so bad.
Oh, no.
I like fell asleep during a final. I like couldn't not. It was so bad. And I'm already very sensitive to medication. So this was like
16 calories.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. And then thank God I like rode my bike home, but like, was that kind of riding under the influence of something? Probably. Thankfully, my house was like a minute away, but oh man, so that's my poop story. Poop story! I got a really gnarly injury, and that's what led to me having an injury that then got exacerbated when I worked in the national park, and that's what got me into social media.
Holy crap, you
And we're
tied
back
it all
to
together!
the beginning.
Oh!
She's in marketing, y'all. I know how to tell a story. Yeah.
Incredible.
You're welcome.
Well, yeah,
Good night, folks.
good job. We're going to leave it there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, y'all. So there you have it. You know I love having a friend on the podcast, and Lauren is definitely that. I hope y'all enjoyed the goofiness and the fun that we had as much as I did. You know, I actually just want to take a moment here to say thank you to everyone at Adventure Aquarium. The team there has been so wildly supportive of me and the podcast. And even though we've still got one more episode coming from there next week, which, you know, is the successor to this one, as you'll get to hear from Sam, actually on mic, you know, it's just been really meaningful to have my home aquarium support the podcast so much. It's a cool feeling, y'all. So thank you for that. And of course, thank you to my Red Panda level patrons, Dr. Laura Shank and Dr. Stephen Williamson. Don't forget to be back here on Friday for Zoo News, and then next Tuesday for our last episode from Adventure Aquarium. This time, anyway. And remember, friends, until then, I have to tell you that the word credits backwards is Steiderk. The Rossifari podcast is produced, hosted, and engineered by John Rossi. Editing and fact-checking by John and Dr. Zoe Rossi. Our theme song is Sevens by Nathan Burke, performed by Nathan and John.
Interrupting John theme and additional voices by Taylor Isaac Gray. You can reach John directly on Instagram and Facebook at Rossifari or by email at rossifaripod@gmail.com. Rossifari is part of the Daydreamer Media Network. Now, stop listening to me and go visit a zoo.
Poop story.